Hi, this is Ashok here. I'm a trainer for CFA, and you are watching FinEx Training YouTube channel where I make content pertaining to CFA and investment banking topics. So, credit default swaps and its trade life cycle we will see now. So, first of all, let me briefly tell you what is credit default swaps. See, refers to swaps refers to exchange of cash flows based on the agreed conditions. Exchange of cash flows based on the agreed conditions. Credit default swaps refers to exchanging or swapping the credit default risk, swapping the credit default risk of the underlying asset, risk of the underlying asset. Okay, swapping the credit default risk of the underlying asset. Okay, how does this work? It works very similar to, like, insurance. Say for example, let me give you the analogy of insurance first. How insurance works: like, there is a person who is worried about his life, so life, or let's say car insurance. So he has a car. Now what will he do? He will take insurance from an insurance company. He will keep paying premium. Okay, reason being, he's worried that what in case if his car meets with an accident, he will incur huge losses. So he is insuring this car with an insurance company, and this insurance company will take premium from him, and in case if something happens to the car, they will compensate for his losses. So this is the swapping the risk of his asset. Okay, swapping the risk involved in his asset. Similarly, credit default swaps also works in the same way. So in credit default swaps, imagine there is a fund manager and he has invested into some risky bond. Now, why did he invest into risky bond? Because it is offering a very high rate of interest, let's say 12 percentage. Now he wants some security. So he approaches an investment bank and he says, like, look, I will pay you premium, but however, in case if something happens to this bond, you are supposed to compensate. So investment bank agrees. So investment bank says, I will compensate in case if something happens to this risky bond. So what is this fund manager doing? They are swapping the credit risk involved in the underlying asset. This is their underlying asset. They are swapping the credit risk. It has been swapped with the investment bank. So these are the participants of credit default swaps, and you know it happens over the counter. That means there is no exchange involved in it. So they both will meet, negotiate, structure the transactions. Like premium, the tenure, for how long this agreement will exist. All such things will be customized as per the counterparty's requirement. They both will customize it. Okay, here fund manager is called as protection buyer. He is buying the protection by paying premium, right? And this investment bank is called as the protection seller. Okay, seller, because they are taking premium and they are giving protection, so they are called protection seller. So this is concepts wise what credit default swap is all about. Now coming to the trade life cycle. So as I said, there are two parties. So one is protection buyer, which is the fund manager or portfolio manager. Okay, whoever is taking this protection or buying this insurance. Then next one is investment bank, which acts as the protection seller, protection seller. Okay, so the first step is they are supposed to obviously structure the transactions. Okay, structure the transactions and see if it is viable or not. So the first step is trade initiation stage. Trade initiation. So under trade initiation, what happens is all stakeholders will come to the same forum and then they will discuss the client requirements and the structure. So we'll discuss client requirement and structure. We'll discuss client requirements. So client as in this case fund managers requirements and structure of the trade and structure of the trade. So who participates in this team? Various stakeholders, like stakeholders will be, so who participates? Stakeholders. So various stakeholders like legal team, because legally it should be fine. Compliance team, as per the company's policies, it should be fine. Then operations team, if they can execute it properly, the deal. Operations. Then risk team, IT, whether the technology supports. Okay, so all this team will come together and then they will negotiate. Once they negotiate and they agree, it goes to the next stage called as trade execution. Okay, trade execution, where the actual agreement takes place to trade. Agreement takes place to trade. Okay, which is done by the front office team. Agreement takes place to trade. Okay, so front office team should execute the trade. Front office team should execute the trade. Should execute the trade. Okay, next step is it goes to trade booking. So in trade booking, okay, they will capture all the trade details. So here agreement is taking place. Third one, trade booking, they have to capture all the trade details. So this team captures all the trade details. Captures all the trade details. Now what are those details? Let's say trade date. Okay, so trade date, so from when uh, so trade date from when this uh, when they are executing this trade. Effective date from where, when they are executing this trade, effective date is from where this swap will be applicable. Okay, from where this swap will be applicable. Then maturity date, so how long this swap is again in agreement. Payment date, like what is the payment frequency, whether it is yearly, half yearly. Okay, so payment date, payment frequency, all such economic details are captured in the trade booking stage. Okay, then it goes to the next stage called trade enrichment. Trade enrichment. So in trade enrichment, okay, all these details will be further cross-checked whether it is matching. For example, the basic information, all trade details will be cross-checked. All trade details, I mean all trade details will be cross-checked. All trade details will be cross-checked. And also so I can write like this, two parts. One is trade details, and another one is term sheet. Okay, so term sheet will have detailed information about the product. Okay, detailed information, as in like all the other terms and conditions. Detailed information of the product will be cross checked. Like for example, terms and conditions, as in like, how much will be the compensation, what are the event when what are the event when the compensation has to be paid. For example, if the underlying asset gets defaulted, that is one. If the underlying asset doesn't pay interest on time, or any restructuring happens, or moratorium comes into play, so in such cases the event will get triggered. So all such details will be mentioned in the term sheets. Okay, then the next one is confirmation. So in confirmation, yeah. So in confirmation, bank will send all the details. Investment bank. So investment bank will send all the details to the fund manager. Will send all the details to the fund manager, or the protection buyer, or the protection buyer. Okay. Now here they follow MTA. Now MTA stands for Master Trade Agreement. Master Trade Agreement. Okay. Now Master Trade Agreement, this Master Trade Agreement is done by their drafting team. Okay. Drafting team of the investment bank. Now Master Trade Agreement consists of what? So this consists of, this is an important one, it consists of various parts, like signature of the counterparties, signature of all the counterparties. It will have the definition of all the terms, definition of all the terms, definition of all the terms. It will have the definition of all the terms, credit events, credit events. Okay. Then it will have the protocol to be followed, protocol. Then collateral details, in case if there is any collateral details, collateral details. Then mode of payment, mode of payment or mode of settlement, whether it will be paid in cash or in any other form, physical settlement, like delivering the underlying assets. So all such details will be mentioned in this master trade agreement. It will have schedule as well, like when the premium will be paid, schedule, mode of payment, collateral, protocol. All these will form part of master trade agreement. Okay, master trade agreement, shortly called as MTA. Then it goes to the next uh, team. This goes to the pre-matching team. So pre-matching team, as in, this is of the fund manager, because they are supposed to affirm it now. Okay. So pre-matching team will do a return affirmation, will do a we'll do an affirmation. Typically written affirmation is preferred. We'll do an affirmation here. Okay, we'll do an affirmation, typically written affirmation. Typically written affirmation. Okay, then so they both have agreed, correct? So they both have agreed. So now there is a formal agreement between them. Then it goes to the third party, typically that is called matching team. Now this is typically outsourced. So matching team, this is also called as central clearing team. Central clearing team. Central clearing team. Okay, clearing team. So what does that mean, clearing team? They will find out like who is supposed to pay and how much. Clearing, it's like cash counter, clearing counter. So they will find out who owes how much, and then to make sure that the trade is settled. Yeah, central, it goes to central clearing team. Matching team are also called a central clearing team. This picks trade. This team captures trade from both the counterparties and matches them. Captures trade from both the counterparties, from both the counterparties, from both the counterparties, and matches them. So what is their job? Their job is to make sure that the payment happens on time. So typically this work is outsourced to some other matching team, central clearing team. Then the next step is pre-settlement. So pre-settlement, okay. So pre-settlement, as in, it involves reset and refixing, resetting data and refixing. What does this mean? Resetting and refixing, as in, they will fix the rate periodically. What should be the new premium in case if there is a change as per the agreement. So this premium will be reset, if premium is linked to some other reference rate. Okay, premium will be reset. If it is linked to some reference rate. For example, even our insurance amount may change, right? Like health insurance amount, premium may change year to year. Similarly, premium may be reset as per the agreement. If it is there in the agreement, as per the agreement, it will be reset. As per the agreement, it will be reset. So it will be reset and it will be refixed, and that reset new premium will be refixed, and new premium will be refixed. Okay, and so this is first part of their job. Second one, once this is done, once they will reset, and also they will take care of cash flow work. cash is, or cash, I can say cash flow or premium. Cash flow or premium is received from the protection sell protection buyer, from the protection buyer, and sent to the protection seller, sent to the protection seller. So they are doing the work of, like resetting data, refixing, and also cash flow valuation work. Okay, then the last one is settlement. Settlement will happen at the time of maturity. So settlement can happen in two ways. One is at the time of maturity or expiry of credit default swaps. Expiry of credit default swaps. Okay. So as in, again, so settlement happens, settlement, the last step wherein it happens in, it can happen in either of two ways. One is maturity, that is expiry of credit default swap. So at the time of expiry, it will be mentioned in the system that further no more amount is pending to be paid from the protection buyer's side, right? So the agreement gets matured, and the agreement stops there, right? That is maturity. That will be mentioned in the settlement by the settlement team at the settlement step. Another way to settle is credit event, in case if the credit event takes place in between, before the expiry itself. So before the expiry itself, if credit event sets in, then it will instruct the settlement, settlement as in, it will be instructed to the protection buyer, protection seller, that is investment bank, protection seller, investment bank, to compensate the fund manager, Okay, so this way the transaction gets stopped here. Once it is compensated, it gets settled, and that's how the transaction gets stopped after that. Okay, after this settlement, the next step is post settlement, where reconciliation begins. In post settlement reconciliation work begins. So reconciliation is in, all this payment will be cross checked, if it has come properly or not. All this will be cross checked, that is reconciliations. All right, so these are the steps involved in credit default swaps. Thank you so much for your time.